And if I may, I think you've also mentioned that the reason we need more water, be it ASR or anything else, is not our basic water supply, but we're looking at drought protection. And a drought means that we're not running out of drinking water, we're not even running out of water for commerce and industry. We would be limiting or eliminating outdoor watering and maybe asking for some small reductions on inside water. So, and I realize that you're not advocating for or against the sales tax, but we're asking low-income households to pay more sales tax on their food, I think, so that we can maintain green golf courses and lawns in wealthy neighborhoods at a reasonable price. I know that's not your area particularly, but is that accurate in any way?
Well, I think you raise a really good and valid point, is what are we actually gaining with the new water source? You talk about having more drought resilience. Well, practically, what does that mean? Is it just green lawns? And I think there's a graphic here that might help explain that. This is looking at a design 1% design drought. That's what we're targeting, and some would argue that that's too aggressive, that we should really be looking at a 2% design drought. But for the sake of discussion for this minute, let's talk about a 1% design drought. That's a drought that happens theoretically every 100 years. It's kind of like the 30s Dust Bowl drought. And if you look at that kind of a drought, with our current drought response plan, this is what it would look like. After the drought, the council said, you know, we don't want to be reactive, we want to be proactive. Put together a drought response plan that we can consider and pass that shows automatically what steps would happen as we progress through the different stages of the drought. And so we brought a plan, and with some modifications, council approved a drought response plan. So we have one right now, and it goes from stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stage 1 is we enhance and encourage additional conservation for the folks. It's driven by the level of water over a moving average in Cheney. And as it drops down further, it triggers stage 2, which is now you can only water your lawns once a week. There's going to be some lawns that don't do so well, probably can keep it alive during the summer months. You go into stage 3, and now there is no outside watering anywhere in private property except for golf courses, and pretty much everyone's lawns die and blow away. You get into stage 4, and now you're talking about no outside watering by anybody. All the golf courses die, if that's important to any of you. And the other aspect of it is, and this is probably more important, is that all indoor year-round use has to be reduced by 15% over what you would normally use. That's doable, but there would have to be an adjustment. Here's the other aspect of it too, that when you drop down to those levels of revenue, that you're going to temporarily anyway have to double your water rates to be able to cover your fixed costs. Now, some might say that's acceptable, that the kind of drought response plan you've described puts the kind of hardship on that's appropriate, and you know, it doesn't happen that often. And when it does happen, this is what we would experience. We wouldn't run out of water. At least we have the water that would allow us to get through onto the other side of that extreme 1% drought. The difference, what you're buying with the new water resource, whether you think this is a good value or not, the difference between the two is, here's that same drought response plan, but we're adding the extra water. And what you'll see is, oh, I'm sorry, you're in about 5+ years in stage 2 and stage 3 without any new water resource.
Stage 3 and 4.
Stage 3 and stage 4, I'm sorry, thank you. When you add the kind of water that we're talking about adding with that same kind of a drought and the same drought response plan, it keeps you pretty much out of stage 3 and stage 4 and keeps you into stage 1 and stage 2. That's the value of this amount of water in that kind of a drought with the current drought response plan that we have in place right now. So I hope that answers your question, sir, about what the value is.
Thank you.